creatures of the night, a symbol of knowledge and wisdom, companion to the goddess Athena, the bridge between the Muggle and wizarding world. Owls. We know what they look like. We know what they do. And now, in Hogwarts Legacy, we are able to explore where they live. Join me as I compare the Owlery and Hogwarts Legacy to its description in the books. Accio Aeterni, a trustworthy Muggle in the wizarding world. It goes without saying that owls are important to Harry Potter. They are one of his first conscious connections to the wizarding world. In fact, it's the very first thing we see in the movies, and an owl was the very first birthday present that Harry ever remembers. Hedwig was Harry's only connection to the wizarding world during those long Dursley summers, and she was a loyal friend until the end. Owls are a constant, yet oftentimes unseen presence at Hogwarts. When they aren't delivering the mail in the mornings or off delivering a letter, they take up residence in the Hogwarts Owlery. We first hear of the Owlery in Chapter 16 of the Sorcerer's Stone when Harry tells Hermione to save Ron after his chess match and head to the Owlery to send for Dumbledore, asking him to help them stop Snape. However, other than another allusion to the Owlery in Prisoner of Azkaban, we don't get a proper description of the location until the Goblet of Fire. From the Goblet of Fire, we learn that the Owlery is in the castle, located at the top of West Tower. It is described as a circular stone room, rather cold and drafty, because none of the windows had glass in them. The floor was entirely covered in straw, owl droppings, and the regurgitated skeletons of mice and voles. Hundreds upon hundreds of owls of every breed imaginable were nestled here on perches that rose right up to the top of the tower. Later on in the book, we get another description telling us that Harry looks up to the rafters and sees these many perches, and we also learn from this passage that there's a door to the Owlery that Fred and George barged through when they were sending a letter to Ludo Bagman. If the Owlery were to be located in the castle in Hogwarts Legacy, my guess is that the most logical placement would be in the bell towers. You can get to the bell towers via the music room, and we see that the top of the tower is open to the elements like the Owlery would have been, and it's also pretty much on the west end of the castle. But in the movies, as in the game, it's located just outside of the castle courtyard. As we can see, there's a long path leading to a door high on a hill, but this door is the entrance to an entirely separate building, not a separate room. Once you go into the tower, it is a circular room as described in the books, and the windows are open to the elements as well. On the ground, we do see a bit of straw, and I think there might even be a skeleton of a small rodent. Unlike the books, though, this room seems extremely dangerous. You can climb up a ladder to a balcony, which does have an amazing view, but there's no railing keeping people from falling down into the Owlery. And I don't know if this is a glitch or not, but like Voldemort, my character has seemed to master the ability of flight, apparently. Nevertheless, it's extremely reckless to allow students access to this part of the Owlery with no protections of any sort. Hopefully no one falls. But I do like the aesthetic of the Owlery. The tower looks great, and it's in a nice location. Not too far, not too close from the castle. And I also love seeing all the owls flying around the castle. But that got me thinking, what could possibly be the point of moving the location between the books and the movie and video game? Well, just as I mentioned in my video on the trophy room, this is a magical castle, and Dumbledore could very well have moved the location. But this isn't convincing to me because it would require the construction and destruction of a new location within the span of one book. In the Goblet of Fire movie, Harry asks Cho to the Yule Ball outside the Owlery, but this scene actually takes place just outside the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom in the books. Harry and Cho do meet in the Owlery in the Order of the Phoenix book, so maybe the movie director just wanted to repurpose that book scene as a way for Harry to get Cho alone in a secluded spot to ask her to the dance. I think a more reasonable explanation is that creating a separate tower could be meant to mimic the owl's natural habitat. Owls live in trees and howled out logs, and this location looks kind of like a tree. The castle is full of activity with students, teachers, portraits, peeves, and magic everywhere, so perhaps the Owlery was originally built as its own separate refuge to escape the chaos. Since owls are mostly nocturnal animals, maybe the founders felt it would have been too disruptive to have them live in the castle, and as such they created a separate habitat for the birds. Then, before Harry attended Hogwarts, the headmaster may have moved the Owlery back inside the castle. I'm sure each headmaster liked to put his or her own touch on the school, and maybe Headmaster Black, Dippet, or Dumbledore was a prolific writer who didn't want to stray too far to send a letter. Or maybe a headmaster was just fond of owls and wanted them close by. We know how close Dumbledore is to Fawkes, his phoenix, so maybe he was a friend of the owls as well. I kind of like that the Owlery is in a separate location in this game because it gives the impression that the owls are more connected to nature by giving them some space away from the castle. Even though functionally they could leave at will from the Owlery in the book version, this tower makes it even more apparent that these animals can come and go as they please. Thank you for joining me for another castle breakdown. Please let me know in the comments what location you would like me to cover next. And as always, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share the channel with your friends to show your support.